All right, this is Aaron with Channel Top Gaming, recording a Core 20 set rank draft. Let's get into it. All right, first pick off the bat. We see a Golas. I still haven't played with Golas in any deck yet, though I've heard good things. Of course, it is colorless, so it's easier to cast. It can top out, and in the right deck, it seems like you should be able to go off things with high costs. I mean, case in point, Scholar of Angels, anything with Enter the Battlefield triggers. The problem being, of course, needing to get up to the rainbow mana, which pretty much necessarily puts you into green off the bat. Not saying we won't take it, but let's look what else we have. Master Splicer's alright. There aren't a lot of other golem creatures available in the limited environment. So even though this is essentially 4 power across 2 bodies, the bolstering effect, the Lord effect from Master Splicer is easily negated and can even blow you out in combat if they have something to be able to take out the Master Splicer at instant speed. Scholar of the Ages is great. I think it's a staple. It's a foundation for a lot of black-blue decks. Get a lot of grindy Reanimator style stuff coming out of the graveyard with Gravedigger, Soul Salvage, which then you can recast this to get your Soul Salvage back, as well as Bone Splinters. Just a lot of repetitive value. Barkite Troll's pretty good. Playable for sure. I don't think there's a lot of counters shenanigans running around, so it's generally just a one-off, but a 2/2, or excuse me, a 3/3 for 2 is, of course, excellent cost. Getting a lot of value for that effect. Cloud Conceer, excellent in elemental decks, or even just blue decks at large. Kind of Octoprofit. Overall, this is a pretty strong pack. Murder's got to be the best removal in this particular limited set. Instant speed, destroy anything. Skeleton also plays well with, say, Bone Splinters or anything that you need a lot of recursive value out of the graveyard too. Blade Brand as well, so you can take out a creature along with it and then get your skeleton back. Undead Servant's a no. Shock, great. Always is early removal. Spider's really nice in this format, especially in a sideboard if you come up against a Flyers deck. Overall, this is just a really strong pack. I think for us, it's between Golas and Scholar of the Ages. Murder is definitely a close maybe, but given that we can set ourselves up to hopefully take care of this on a very powerful level, there's not a whole lot of lands that matters as much. If we end up with one of the Fields of the Undead, sure, great. But overall, it's a 5 that kind of effectively ramps you by 1 mana for whatever that's worth. Go towards getting out the extra ability. So a lot of the split lands, of course, really helps pay for it. And then you're pretty much going to just need green, as well as the 3 mana colorless artifact creature, Scuttlemut. I think those are the only ways. Well, and Prismite, I guess, is the real cheap version of that. Very ineffective and easy to remove. So overall, I'm not sure how to build that deck. So I'm leaning more towards something that I'm much more familiar with, which is Scholar of Ages, which is just a real blowout value-wise. So we're going to go ahead and pick that. And immediately rewarded 2 Scholar of Ages. Absolutely. We don't even hate the fact that Tomebound Lich is sitting here too. If we throw off the right signals, possibly the bots will let this wheel, or if not, the next one in another pack wheel around, because we don't mind these at all either. The fact that if we need to, we can mill out a spell and get it back with Scholar of the Ages, but of course we're also really hoping to pick up some Gravediggers and Soul Salvages. Other than that, Retributive Wand has some homes in different decks in this core set. This I don't feel is one of them. Blue based at least. I mean, we only have 1 card so far, but still. We'll absolutely take a split land at some point. Other things worth mentioning, Rabid Bite, if you're in green or even considering it, or if there's nothing else in a pack, it's fine removal. There is certain creatures with Death Touch that can really help boost the power level of that anyway. And I guess Winged Words. Even if you're not in a strictly Flyers deck, it's essentially Divination with the upside of possibly 1 mana less. And then I guess Fathom Fleet definitely has places in certain decks too. But let's pick up our second Scholar and hope that this really pays off for us. Well, so far, so good. Bone to Ash is an excellent card. Sometimes it's better in other sets. This one, it's not quite as powerful, even though there's slower, grindier matches. There's also a lot of removal. So just by nature of competitiveness for how you're going to get rid of that creature, this isn't always the case. It's definitely better than Sleep Paralysis, even though that is Blue's go-to control, creature control. Reduced Ashes is pretty good. Flame Sweep, I haven't played a red-blue. I feel that there are enough blue creatures, Cloudkin Seer of course being one of them, that's definitely a consideration. I know it's a very powerful card. Knowing that we haven't seen a whole lot of black come this way yet, it's possible that it's getting picked out. And as far as drafting the hard way, we're still just pick 3. So we don't necessarily need to pick one of these blue cards, even though Bone Ash would probably be it. So we're going to go ahead and take Flame Sweep and just see if we can feel out our red-blue deck, see what that looks like. Okay, immediately rewarded with a second Flame Sweep. Saying, you know, Paralysis is fine. Boneclad Necromancer, I believe, is very nice. You essentially get 5/5 spread across 2 bodies for 5, which is just a great rate. That, along with Recursive, Gravedigger again, Soul Salvage, Graveyard Shenanigans. You get this back even once, and you're really getting your money's worth. But that said, we're just going to take another Flame Sweep and see if we can't put together a red-blue Flyers where we're just buying back our good spells after we get near the end of the match. Alright, here we're immediately thwarted. There's nothing for a red-blue Flyers deck here. Best card that I'm gravitated towards is the Skeleton, which is going to pull us back towards a... Oh, that's what misclicks do for you. A black-blue Reanimator style deck. Oh man, misclick on a recording. That said, I didn't think there was much else. There's maybe a red card we could have looked at. Swinging back this way, Soul Salvage looks really nice. If we want to try and push red further, Reduced Ashes is fine. Here's one of our potential flying 2-drops, as long as we get some other flyers involved. And we want flying not only because flying's good, of course, in limited, but because Flame Sweep itself allows us to break the symmetry and put together some really nice multiple, you know, 1 or 2, 3 multiple for ones on our side, especially at instant speed. So now that we have 2 of those, it's going to be hard to move back into black. But now, again, that said, do we really take a Reduced Ashes over a Soul Salvage? Which one are we going to miss more? Honestly, I think we have to respect 2 Flame Sweeps over just 1 Skeleton and no other guaranteed black cards, even though we know black blue's a good synergy. So, even though I think it's pretty close, we're going to go with Reduced Ashes and try and keep up our blue-red potential Flyers deck. Yeah, again, we're still not seeing much black passed our way, so it was probably a good choice. Manifold Key, I've seen some synergies with certain other artifacts being able to untap it, but the mana cost is ridiculous. Much more pertinent is the Can't Be Blocked ability. It can be excellent for just sneaking through. Usually, though, larger green creatures, there are some, you know, big beaters and red and even black. But if we are trying to get some flyers, it's not going to be as pertinent. That said, we have a pretty good battle trick. Anything that gives +2 to toughness, regardless of power, even though here it is a +3, allows you to usually just trade off the trick for your opponent's creature and not have to 2-for-1 yourself. And it can be a sort of push through the last bit of damage, especially in the air. That said, even though Fairy Miscreant is not a good card in certain decks with a multitude of, say, at least 3, honestly I think I'd want 4. They can be excellent. Pattern Matcher is also a card in this set where you can go and search out, and if you actually can pattern match, you know, another 2 or even 3, 4 fairy miscreants, and then they replace themselves by drawing cards, and they're flying. Then you start to build up a lot of value pretty quick. So I think I'm going to take that over the trick, even though in a vacuum the trick's definitely better. And actually probably the best cards are between Mammoth Spider, Wolfkinbon, Verse Cloud. These greens are all fine cards you'll want as a late game in the deck. If you have a green X color deck going. But here, let's speculate. Let's see if we get punished or not. But we're gonna take the Miscreant, see what happens. All right, so still pretty glad that we didn't swing back towards black. We're just really not seeing anything. If we had tried to force it, probably would have fallen flat and gotten a pretty weak deck. As it stands, we have a few choices. Vial of Dragonfire, along with the Heart Seeker Bow, Heart Piercer Bow, are the 2 artifacts that can be tutored up by the blue 2-drop creature. And I've seen some pretty silly things, especially on flyers for the Heart Piercer Bow. The Vial of Dragonfire is fine, you know, super expensive shock on demand. But being able to tutor it, of course, is very interesting. So it's consideration, but it's probably not going to beat out Reduced to Ashes, since this is a piece that you pick up after you have the tutor enabled, and not hoping that you put together the better artifact as well as the tutor piece. And then other than that, Anticipate's fine, but you can almost always pick them up late, and honestly, if you can get your hands on the Flying Divination, then you want that versus just the Anticipate itself. I mean, if you have, say, a bomb like a Chandra or anything large that you're really just trying to dig for because it can win the game on its own, then Anticipate's fine, but really we're looking at Convolute and Reduced to Ashes. Convolute has a lot more upside than a lot of these type of effects in Limited. Having to pay 4 generally pushes out and makes the effectiveness and usability of this card go into the mid game, where usually those start to fall off pretty quick, so you can't counter their awesome 3-drop because now they have 6 or 7 mana out. Whereas here you can push it all the way to turn 6 or 7 or 8 as long as they're trying to get down any sort of bomb. Of course, the problem is always if you don't have your counter at the right time, then not so much. Whereas doing 5 damage to anything in this format generally is going to kill it. There's a few things like the Vorshak, whatever it is, Elemental 7/7. And honestly, I can't think of anything else that's big enough to dodge 5 damage. Plus, you do get to exile it, which is pretty important against certain decks, like the Reanimator deck that we're speaking of, the black-blue one. So we'll go ahead and pick up second Reduced Ashes, and now we're pretty set with Flame Sweeps and Reduced Ashes and picking them back up with our Scholars that we kind of want a early mid-game now. Nothing much for us here. We could pick up a Prismite. They are so weak that it's really painful, and we hope not to play it. Whereas if we do end up being able to splash black, or if for some reason we go full black, you know, black-blue or something, then Skeleton is just too good that even over the outside corner case that we might play a Prismite, I'm still just going to bank on the Skeleton. If we end up getting there. The wand can be useful, say with Flame Sweep, picking off that last point of damage against a larger creature, almost kind of the same if you're attacking in. There are a decent number of 1 toughness creatures to pick off 2. I know there's a way to sacrifice your wand. I can't remember what it is in this set. So it's usable. If we're leaning towards hedging our bet with a black card, then Cutthroat would probably be it. Ironically, going pretty well with wand anyway, but also still cleaning up something after a Flame Sweep. Not bad. Right now, the only blue cards, even though there are pick 1 and pick 2, and they're very powerful, are the Scholar of Ages, so you might actually just want to keep an eye towards if we pivot towards a black-red deck. To that end, I'm leaning more towards this Cutthroat. It's a little tricky. There's a lot of tricks you can do attacking with your Skeleton, because you know you can bring it back later to enable it. Again, the Flame Sweep, I mean, we might pick up a wand at some point. feel like we're going to have more use out of this Cutthroat if we end up not playing heavy blue or blue at all, God forbid, than we are speculating about this wand and then maybe end up cutting it and not even sideboarding it in ever. So we'll go ahead and pick up the Cutthroat, see if that doesn't punish us. Well, well, here's an interesting thing. Zephyr Charge, I feel like, comes around quite a bit. At least it did in the best of 3, as far as the bots picking it or not picking it. And I think this is the second one we've seen so far. So I feel like we're going to be able to pick up another one of these. That said, if I'm making that argument to try and pick this Cutthroat, what are we really doing? Because we're not really black either. Stayed fairly open more than anything else. Drafting, as they say, the hard way. This fits nice into a black-red curve as it sits. This could potentially be what we're missing to make a lot more things flying, you know, dodge for our flame sweep. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up this other Cutthroat. Nothing for us here. Nothing for us here. I mean, Maniacal Rage we probably don't play, but at least it's on color in case we do. Still really nothing going on. Yeah, nothing going on. Alright, well, if there's a universe where we can do a Jeskai Flyers, then that would be amazing. Right now, I don't see it. We don't really have much in the way of Flyers at all, except for one little Miscreant, which is not where we want to be. So if we pick up this Empyrean Eagle, we're just trying to play catch up and make it worth having played. That said, there's not too much going on besides that. Siphon's nice in the fact that if we end up playing a black-blue, because I mean really our red removal's splashable. Not wholly necessary to get down immediately. The lands are fine if you end up with them. If you're trying to rare draft, then great. The Finlurker's nice. A properly timed Finlurker can get rid of a really good card out of their hand, and then essentially, even though this is technically a horror, this is the Shade Pump, where back in the day it used to be always, you know, you can pump Shades for any sort of reason. 3 makes it fairly prohibitive, not great, but it's always a great sink late. Can really start mismatching opponents' blocks. I feel like Eagle's got the most upside, but then we're really stretching and making a weird mana base for ourselves. Sky Knight Vanguard's worth talking about too, just for a minute. If you do find yourself drafting an aggro deck, which red-white, you know, traditional aggro colors anyway, but I think it's one of the only viable, really aggressive decks. Still pretty hard to put together in Core 20, then this would be a centerpiece. If you can get as many of these in your deck as possible, then, well, I mean, it makes its own creature, it's flying, it's already got evasion, and potentially comes down on turn 2 and starts attacking. It's nice to be able to pump up, etc. Not what we're doing now, though. So we already have enough reduced ashes, at least for the moment. If we get thrown any more, maybe we put them in the sideboard. Put one or, God, I can't even imagine 2 more in against a longer, grindier deck, especially if we want to get rid of some creatures so they don't recur them. Soul Salvage is nice in the deck that we're kind of going for now, which looks like could be just splash red, you know, blue-black reanimator style like we're talking about with a splash of red. I just don't feel like Empyrean Eagle is really viable. I mean, we have to strip down, we have to strip the black out, and then we're playing Jeskai with 0 fixing. Just doesn't feel good. So between 2 removal spells, which we might play a Siphon or at least have one on the sideboard, since Scholar Ages is nice, we already have the 2 Flame Sweeps and 2 Reduced Ashes. Soul Salvage just seems like it goes better in the deck that we are coming to make, whether we like it or not. So, not a great pick one, pack two, but we're going to take the Soul Salvage and hope that something comes together for us. Alright, well, we have three interesting picks to go between. Disfigure's great, early game removal. It lets us set up some good tempo plays, finishes off things with Flame Sweep. It can be a battle trick with a skeleton even being able to pick off a 3/3. Meteor Golem almost kind of has the flip value. It's super expensive removal, but it removes anything and has recursion value with our Soul Salvage, as well as if, again, fingers crossed, we can pick up a Gravedigger. Gorging Vulture would be fine, especially, I mean, it flies, and it puts cards in graveyard, which we necessarily don't mind if we're going reanimate heavy. Daggersail Aeronaut, we would definitely play if there weren't better cards, of course, to pick from at the moment. It's much better pick 2 for our pack 2. So it comes down to, what are we really looking at here? At this point, we look black, red, splash blue, put the Miscreant away. Splashing blue can be fine. It's just been a kind of messy draft where we haven't gotten any clear signals and been able to go one particular direction. So push comes to shove, it's always nice to have more removal and play a slower, grindier game. So it's between, I think, Disfigure and Meteor Golem as removal. Would love to have the Vulture too, but I think we would miss some of this much more premium removal than the Vulture, and maybe we'll get lucky and it'll wheel around. And if not, maybe the Daggersail will. So leaning towards this Disfigure just gives us better, earlier plays. It's just a little more flexible. It can even be good late game with our combination plays. Then, of course, we can get it back with either of our Scholars. Whereas Meteor Golem right now, with no Gravedigger, it's just not as cool with just the one Soul Salvage, and then having to wait till so long and late in the game. So, alright. Never pass up a good murder. We really need some creatures. We have our removal absolutely covered every way to Sunday. But now we want to pick up some flying creatures, especially would be nice. Anything in black or red. Evolving Wilds is definitely something we're interested in too, but there's no way we take that over a murder. Good sideboard card with Reckless Airstrike. We'll play 2 Soul Salvages if we get them. Ringleader can actually be great synergistic wise, get multiple Ringleaders. There's plenty of flying red goblins floating around, but we're not anywhere near that. And then I'd definitely play Vampire as a great one-drop if, you know, we didn't just want to murder stuff. Diamond Knight's very controversial. You hear a lot of people go back and forth. I've played it in 2-color with a 3rd-color splash decks and still had it work fine. I played it in a 70% 1-color, 30% 2nd-color deck and had it just completely be poopy. Pulling it late just never feels good unless you have a way to refill your hand anyway, but then again, it's just too variable, I think. Maybe there's some build-arounds out there, but overall it's a little bit more of a trap card than anything else. Sleep Paralysis is fine removal in blue. We don't need removal and we're not necessarily in blue. Octoprofit's great, especially with the recursion, and I would be leaning towards taking it, except for we do have a flying creature in one of our more main colors. And so, yep, we're just going to snag that. I have not played with a Mask of Immolation, or Dragon Mage for that matter. Dragon Mage seems like a much more constructed card, being able to build around its wheel effect. Wheel and Deal being an old card that essentially everybody dumped their hands and drew 7 new cards, and then you would try and synergize with it with Megrim-like effects, or, you know, discard does damage to X player effects, or get them to, say, mill out by just drawing too many cards. Where you have maybe positive synergies for drawing cards, besides, you know, drawing cards. Mask of Immolation. You get to sacrifice any creature and do 1 damage to a target. Or rather, sacrifice the creature that the mask is attached to and do 1 damage to any target. Seems pretty good, especially with our 2 Cutthroats. Still a 1/1 for 2 with synergy upside seems pretty good. What else do we have? Already talked about paralysis. Ooh, Chandra's Outrage. Even though we're already flush with removal, Chandra's Outrage is probably right behind Murder as the best removal in the set. Scorched Spitter is interesting. Works interestingly or better with the Phoenix combo. There's a 1/3 Phoenix that gets +3/+0, which is a pretty significant boost every time that opponents take damage on that turn. There's no way we're going to start angling for that combo, but it does it bears mentioning. And it's an elemental, so if you're already in that deck, that works out pretty nicely. Gift of Paradise, not as strong as it is in other sets. This particular one, green just doesn't care as much, but if you're saying if we had taken Bolos to start off this draft, we would definitely have been green, and we would have probably liked to see this Gift of Paradise. I don't know, we might have seen one other one. Heart Piercer Bow, if we had more creatures already, I'd be more apt to. Clearly there's great synergy with the Cutthroat. There's also the black-red uncommon, which has the similar ability, or rather is an ability that can be activated over and over again, similar to Cutthroat, where you're destroying a creature that's already taken damage. But that said, I think we're supposed to take Mask of Immolation. I can see late game, you know, setting up, because yeah, you don't even have to tap it. Setting up a little finishing move where you have 6 mana and, you know, it's already attached to another creature, and you swung big and wide and was able to just get him down to, say, you know, 4 or 5 life left. You can just go through and sacrifice all your creatures as long as you have enough mana to equip the mask over and over again as you go down the line. Seems a little tricky, little corner case. Not entirely sure. I guess there's a little sacrifice synergy too with the skeletons. As a mana sink, you can just recur the skeletons over and over again and keep putting at least 1 damage on their face. Or again, Cutthroat can clean up. So I think we're leaning towards that. If we didn't already have 2 Reduced Ashes, 2 Cutthroats, 2 Flame Sweeps, a Murder, and a Disfigure, then we'd be picking up this Outrage, but we're already pretty heavy. Though an Outrage slotted in instead of 2 Reduced Ashes is definitely consideration. Alright, we haven't played with the mask yet, so let's give her a go. This also highlights the fact that we do need some more 2-drops. We have 2 Skeletons, which is nice early on, but we do want some more 2-drops. Let's see, Wand. Still haven't seen the thing that lets you sacrifice an artifact. I'm pretty sure there's one in Core 20. Seems just like a slower, clunkier version of a mask, though of course without the drawback of sacrificing a creature. But still not nearly as interested in it as just getting another flying creature. Wouldn't mind 1 more Soul Salvage, or again, our perfect draw would be a Gravedigger. I think we're fighting one of the bots coming back with black cards, so not sure how that'll look for our pack 3. May end up kind of diluted. Other than that, I don't hate Keldon Raider. We do have cards that we don't mind. You're either throwing away a land because you don't need lands anymore, or say you're throwing away a creature that we can recur for 4/3. But I think we actually want flying. So we're going to go ahead and pick up this Vulture. It does bear mentioning too, Cryptic Caves, excellent card. Goes in just about any deck really. I mean, it's a mana, and then eventually it just turns into a card, replaces itself. Not a ton of synergies per se, but it's a good standalone card, but we still need some of these creatures. Alright, Bird Grabber. Grabbing them birds. Right now it's only got 2 vultures to try and grab, but we'll see what happens. I think it bears repeating that pivotal pick of picking up the first Cutthroat, or I guess the second Cutthroat, versus the blue Zephyr enchantment to give flying to your creatures. I think it was a good choice. It was definitely a pivotal choice, as it's solidified us much more going back towards black. Still want to splash these Scholars if we can. I don't know if we just raw splash them or not. There's not a lot of ways, you know, if we end up milling our islands, that's not good. If we end up just not drawing islands when we need them, that's not good. Really want to see at least one split land would be nice. Or a scuttlemutt. So let's take our underpowered but still a 2-drop creature with potential flying. Yeah. With our bird grabber, Mind Rot's fine. We definitely play one out of the sideboard. Probably faster than we'd play Duress, and that's about it in this pack. Alright, Evolving Wilds is definitely what we want to see. A tri-land makes all the difference when you're trying to splash. You know, early on, if you absolutely have to get out a black or red for your primary colors, you can do that. If, say, you have 2 islands and an Evolving Wilds in your hand to start, it's still not a bad choice because you can always see what the next draw is and see if you're going to draw one of the other 2 primary colors of your land, and then use this as the third while always backing up your blue so that you have that later. And I think it's the clear pick even over Convolute, which, again, since we're splashy and we have removal, we don't really need anyway. And just a big beater. A 6/5 Menace, even for 6, is pretty well priced and is very difficult to deal with. So I think we'd probably be picking that if, of course, we didn't have the tri-land. So that makes me feel much better about these Scholars. Play a 3rd Reduced Ashes. We might take one if it's passed to us to put in the sideboard. But given all the rest of the removal we have, I think we need to focus on creatures a little more. And Destructive Digger's fine. Later in the game, it can start turning in all of your extra lands into cards. Oh, and this is how you take advantage of the Wand of Retribution, or Retributive Wand, which is just fun to say. And get that synergy going. So now we have that as an option too, in case it just falls in our lap. We've already seen quite a few of them. Hardcover is not something I've used much, and I don't see it. I see it in a black-blue Reanimator style deck. Anything that loots is giving you advantage because you're usually able to play out of the graveyard as well as you're drawing the extra card. Maybe you're throwing away extra land. Looting is good, and then the extra toughness it can give you is also nothing to be disregarded, since it allows you to block higher. But then, of course, the old Dice to Doomblade 2-for-1 is something that is always needs to be considered with auras, and there's a lot of instant speed removal. So even if we were closer to blue, I don't know, I'd have to have a more specific deck for hardcover. As far as that goes, then we just have 2 cards, a 4-drop and a 5-drop. I don't think we have maybe even any other elementals. If anything, we have more goblins now. And yeah, and 0 elementals. So even though I think the Brawler is a great card, I've seen it really do just crazy amounts of work in certain decks. Just for 1 more mana, I think we just go ahead and pick up our Fire Elemental. I might be wrong there. Maybe it's better to pick up the Brawler and just trust that you'll pick up more, even like another Brawler. Because even 1 elemental out makes us a 3/4 for 4, which isn't horrible. If you still have other upside. But we're going to play the safety game and just go ahead and grab the big boy. Alright, well, now that I've said that, we of course get past a Goblin Ringleader that I don't think 2 goblins is worth picking for, but it's so interesting because if we pick this now and maybe we pick up a couple more goblins and another Ringleader comes back around, then we can start getting a critical mass of goblins. But that said, we have 2 other cards. Reckless Airstrike would be in consideration against it anyway, even if we didn't have this 3rd option, because this is just a great sideboard card. You play against the flyers, you play against some annoying artifacts, you know, 1 mana sorcery, boom, done. But we do have the Heartpiercer Bow, which I think actually is supposed to go in this deck. We only have the 2 Cutthroats, but along with the Flame Sweeps, as well as, say, a Sanitarium Skeleton, I think this might be the deck where we try to go for some bow shenanigans. Nothing really for us here, and we don't even want this at 3-drop, but we'll just stick it in the sideboard. A 1-drop that likely isn't going to make the cut, but we'll let it sit and think Happy thoughts for the moment, and pack 3. Alright, so Thunderkin Awakener is an elemental build-around card. I still haven't seen anybody use it impressively. I'm sure there's different ways, and maybe when another set or two comes out, or maybe some other options rotate out that people are using, Thunderkin Awakener might find a home, but definitely not us. Not for this deck, and not limited as far as I know. Not a whole lot really for us. I've seen some people argue for Unholy Indenture. I just don't like these type of effects. If you get blown up before the enchantment takes hold, you get 2 for 1. If it's an exile effect, you get 2 for 1. If you have to put it on a stupid creature that it doesn't matter, then what have you really done? Could have cast something else with that 3 mana. I mean, we have Gorging Vulture. I mean, we have Enter the Battlefield effect creatures. So, I mean, if anything, this might be a deck where we'd want to consider it, but I still think it's a trap more than anything else. Yeah, we don't even have any Soul Splinters. I think I just much prefer to have an axe. We put it on any of our little weak swingers, and they become much more threatening. So, other than that, I think Eternal Isolation's a pretty good white card. White's pretty weak in this set, but it's a pretty good white card for dealing with a creature that especially has recursive value. But usually I think it ends up in the sideboard. I tried playing a few white decks early on, and they're just so weak that I never got any traction with them. I think you really have to like open up an Empyrean Eagle and then just build and get some good flyers to have any sort of effect with white. I know I said red-white aggro is also a deck, which I still haven't seen a great build of, but I know the pieces are kind of floating out there. I just don't know if they have the same power level as a lot of the longer, grindier decks. Overgrowth Elemental is excellent if you're in the Elemental deck. Season of Growth is excellent if you're just green at all. I've become more and more impressed with this card as time's gone on. Even in Limited, and then especially in certain Tier 1 decks and Constructed. We've talked about Anticipate and Octoprophet. Sage's Row Denizen. If you have the blue creatures and you have a certain amount, critical mass wise, of the denizens, you can actually have a pretty legitimate, semi just grindy mill option. Though I don't think there's really any finishers that are coming to mind right now to be able to finish off somebody you're milling. And really, it just brings us back all the way around. I mean, we wouldn't mind a 2-drop, but it's way too early. We'll have to pick that. I think this will just have some more value for us, so we'll pick up Axe. See what it brings. Alright, we have an excellent, very large flyer. Pattern Matcher seems good. We have a Scholar of the Ages. We have Cutthroat, we have Vulture, we have Skeletons. We have a lot of doobles. Scuttlemutt, of course, would have to pop in here. It's one of the only fixing, especially not dependent upon actually drawing the blue mana itself. And since Scholar of the Ages is double mana and we have 2 of them, I really feel like we're supposed to pick Scuttlemutt. Bone Splinters, even with all the removal we have, I honestly would not mind trading a Reduced to Ashes for Bone Splinters, or possibly even playing all of them. In a control heavy deck, I don't mind playing 6 or even 7 pieces of removal. And right now we have 1. Let's go and take the Spitter out. I mean, we have enablers, so I'm going to count Cutthroats as full removal. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of removal. That's being generous, of course, with the Cutthroats, but that's quite a bit. So I don't think we need almost any more removal. So that allows us to not have to worry about the Shock or the Bone Splinters and really just focus on Scuttlemutt or Pattern Matcher. And I'm not discounting the multicolor land either, but if we're, going for fixing, I think the Scuttlemutt might have to be where we're at. The quote-unquote hidden mode on it of being able to change colors of different creatures is pretty pertinent. There are protection from X creatures floating around, which can be tricky. Even though I'd love a pattern matcher and a split land and a shock, we are going to scuttlebutt it up. So far, I don't see too many cuts as we near the end of this. Too many obvious cuts, rather, as we near the end of the draft. Oh my god. Alright, and we just got past a nice black bomb. I think we pushed the computer player off of black. I think we pushed the bot out of the draft because I was almost positive in pack 1 they were thinning out that black, which, you know, pushed us towards blue-red to begin with. But then we ended up not seeing any blue-red either. There was probably a pretty good green deck out there. I don't think there's too many bombs I saw go past us. So out of this, we're clearly going to pick the Knight of the Ebon League. This thing is disgusting. It can start attacking turn 3 with the threat of activation, meaning maybe they give up a good creature they don't want to block with that you kill, or if they do let it through, you can have the option to pump it up to put a counter on top of your Ebon Legion, just snowballing it as it goes on, or you can just use it for the free 1 damage and then still play something else. We wouldn't mind a Drake, even though we are just splashing blue. This could come out of the sideboard nicely. We would take probably a 3rd Vulture. Frostlinks is great. Better when it's supported with synergies for elementals. Unsummon's great. Very tricky. I don't think Zephyr Charge. I don't think even if we get past 1 late, we splash at this point. Essentially, we're just looking to focus and splash just for the Scholar of Ages. Lets us recur a lot of our excellent removal. I think I'm even going to go ahead and take out, since we have so much, 1 of the Reduced to Ashes, since we have, you know, 2 of the Scholars. Love to play some more tapped, or excuse me, some, you know, dual lands if we can get our hands on them. But of course, Big Daddy, come to me. So we have a nice cheap curve. Unfortunately, at the top end, we do have to keep working towards our Scholar of Ages. I mean, it might even be right to cut these, even though it just seems so foreign to me right now to even think that. But it eases up our mana-based restrictions. We probably still play the Evolving Wilds. Evolving Wilds also thins a land out of your deck. I've always liked Evolving Wilds in any sort of decks. But we would be able to cut out Scuttlebutt. It's worth considering. Alright, so this pack, I imagine if you're in blue-white flyers, that's got to be a great top-end curve out, mana dump. Can really finish a game pretty quick if it doesn't get answered. This, I don't know if it has a home unlimited. There's just not a lot of... Yeah, this isn't even a vampire, actually. Because Sorin is a thing in this format. If you open 1, pick 1, pack 1, you can really try and prioritize vampires, but this guy's actually even a zombie, which just not a lot going on for us and limited for it. Here's the pieces that white needs to be aggro, but again, still haven't even really seen that happen. I think we end up with this 2-drop Mastiff. The only thing contending for that is a second bow. I feel like if you can get multiple bows onto a creature, you know, as soon as you can start doing 2 damage, then you don't even need to clean up with Cutthroat. You're just killing their creatures over and over again. And imagine a couple bows on a Vulture, hit their, you know, 4/4, and then maybe they have a couple other tiny creatures out, flame sweep the whole thing away. I mean, pretty much game. I'll play a 2-drop lifelink, even if it's only lifelink on my turn. The Mastiff is probably the greediest play because we have no idea if we're going to get more, and you know, if we do, great. If not, it's pretty bland bear. I mean, it can pump itself, but pretty bland bear. Bear with slight lifelink upside, or bear with slight pump upside, or another bow. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of pseudo 5 early creatures, decent number of 3-drops. Our top end really is just going to be recurring our spells. Soul Salvage kind of be a hero to get some of our creatures back to finish beating down, especially with 2 vultures. I think we still try and splash. And with so many tiny creatures, I think maybe I think bows just get better in multiples. So even though maybe it's wrong and we need to take a 2-drop here, we're going to go with another bow, just kind of go all in on him. It's another ringleader. Wonder if we could add a whole true circus. I think we pick up third skeleton. Honestly, now that we have, I mean, bone splinters with skeleton would be great, but now that we have so many bows, we have an axe. We want cheap creatures to be able to put our equipment on. And I think that's just, yeah, another skeleton for us. Scourger, when it enters the battlefield, deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control. Seems like a worse version of a lot of the cards we already have. What else we got? Dragon Mage, I don't think it's playable unlimited. +1/+1 against double strike until end of turn. That's interesting. I have not played with this card. A skeleton that can all of a sudden do 4 damage on an unblocked swing seems pretty attractive. Again, or just come around and block a larger creature seems pretty attractive. It's very interesting. What else do we have? We already talked about Indenture, and really that's it. So we have a 3/3 for 5 that can... Oh, and it's not even to a creature, it's just to an opponent or a planeswalker. That just seems like a bad card. Not sure what deck, if it is supposed to go in any deck in limited. Alright, so let's try this Fury out. See what happens. Ooh, I like this. I like this with the deck we have here. It goes wide, makes multiple bodies. Comes out with haste on its own. Not a lot of elemental synergies, but I think just essentially 3 power across 3 bodies with haste for 4 mana is a pretty good deal for us. Manifold Key, I guess in a perfect world we could use it to double tap Scuttlemutt for 2 blue. That's about it. Unblockable creatures we kind of already have on lock. We're either going to kill their creatures or hopefully have one with flying. Are these the only 2 fly? Right, that's right. Pseudo flying. That's kind of it. Still didn't see a Gravedigger, which sucks. Wouldn't mind a second Soul Salvage. Other than that, not much else here for us. Alright, so here's the real test, right? Do we take a 3rd Heart Piercer bow? I don't think we do. I think if this was a deck where we were tutoring, you know, for bows and for vials, with whichever the name of that blue card is, then I think there's a real possibility you play 3 Heart Piercer bows. But as it stands, I see us getting equipment flooded with not enough creatures, or just having to deal with their creatures before we can set up profitable attacks. I think 2 is the height of our particular deck's bow count. I know Deathsea's talked a lot about Diviner's Lockbox and has played. I still actually haven't caught a deck that he's used that for. But choosing to reveal the top card, if you have... I don't know how you manipulate the top of your deck, though. There's not a whole lot of scrying going on in this limited environment. If it has a chosen name, sacrifice, and draw 3 cards, activate this ability only like 10 customers. It's a real thing or not? So if we're not doing 3 Heart Piercer bows, I think we want this Mind Rot for longer, grindier games. We'll put it in the sideboard for now. It might make the main board. Maybe. Alright, we don't have any lifelink. I don't think at all, really, do we? No. No lifelink. So Pure Blood's essentially a 4/4 for 5. Not too exciting, but there's not a lot. I mean, I guess there's only one other card, which I'm not super interested in. It's gonna clog up a 3-drop slot that can be literally anything else that's better. It just seems like a real trap card, so we'll take Epicure Blood in case we just want a bigger body. Ooh, Pattern Matcher, very nice. We have 3 skeletons, 2 vultures, 2 cutthroats, 2 Scholar of the Ages. We have all sorts of targets for Pattern Matcher. So that's going to be a slam dunk pick. Oh man. Oh man, I would so love to have this dual land. But I really think Pattern Matcher just goes way too well, especially with 3 skeletons in our deck. Yeah, tough one, but it's one we have to do. Here is another bigger beater. Death Touch on a 5/5 is kind of a funny little thing. You do get to pick off all the creatures that block you, so you know if they block you with 2 4/4s and a 1/3, you can still kill them all instead of just one of the creatures. So it's definitely a better, larger beater than say the Cure of Blood that we picked up. But that said, I don't know if the Drake isn't what we're supposed to do. If we're really going to be playing Splash Blue, which I feel that we are. What are we at, 28? So we need to cut at least 4 cards. Is there a real question as to whether we play the Scholar of the Ages? As it stands. Early, good, fast creatures. Early, good equipment put on said creatures. Decent amount of aggro, and then just asymmetrical sweeper. Battle tricks that can either defend us or push through that extra bit of damage. I mean, so that's 3 of the 4 cards, and we would still have to cut probably this Fire Elemental. We'd probably go with the safer, larger beater in case we do go that route. Alright. Definitely getting to the point where there's just nothing for us. Oh man, they're just forcing us to take one of these integers, huh? Oh my god, 2 of them. Great. Alright, so let's poke at our deck. Just take out anything we know we're not going to play. So let's just for the moment, calm down. Take those out, see what it looks like. Definitely taking these out. Not sure if Digger makes it or not. Scuttlemutt would come out if we're not playing blue. Yeah, alright. So, to bring in the blue package, we need 3 cards. We'd need 2 card slots. And again, I think Heartpiercer deserves to be in here. And if we play one, we need to play both. So really we're looking at possibly the Uncaged Fury. I'm not sure how good it is. Maybe it's just too good, you know, with a Knight of the Ebon Legion that's been countered a couple times. It's kind of removal with the skeletons. Man, we have some weak... I don't know if Grabber's good enough. We only have 2 flyers and no other way to make this any better. So now it's just a 2/1 with slight upside. We also cut this Evolving Wilds if it's part of the blue package. Another 2-drop. With all these small drops, really keeps our curve nice and lean and low. Makes it easier for us to have our 16 mana. Call this safe. No blue. All important. Change the card back. And see if this isn't a horrible deck. Alright, see you in game 1. Other than that, I have seen blue-black control and then black-red. Like we're playing, just don't know how good it is. Alright, decent mix of mana. One of our mini skeletons. Wouldn't mind a 2-drop popping up out of nowhere. Alright, opponent looks like they're going wide with axes. It's nice, we're going to be able to pattern match and grab our other skeletons or our other vulture if we want. might be our vulture. Nice. Alright, so we got one of our flame sweeps in there. Yeah, and disfigure. It's fine. Splicer, we're not scared of. Could have really used a mana. I think we need to hold up the Fury as a trick so the skeleton can take out probably the golem construct. We're really hoping for a mana. Go ahead and swing in with the vulture, pass, see what happens. Alright, there's a couple different things they could do here. We'll see if they have anything. Doesn't look like it. So that's an alright trade. I'm not thrilled about it, but it's not bad. Okay, there's our mana. Scorcher puts out some tiny blockers, but they generally just get eaten up. We're going to want to get rid of that spider pretty ASAP, but I don't think we want to vulture into Cutthroat. So we can pattern match her the other vulture. We're probably going to be trading off whatever we put down. Let's go ahead and pattern match her. Yes. Yes. Alright. We have our soul salvage in hand, so we're not too worried about milling some more creatures. We just hope we don't hit our murder or other flame sweep. Oh, alright. Opponent's getting froggy. Decides just to go for one big swing. Now we really want a mana so that we can reduce that to ashes. Okay. Alright, well at least now we have a blocker on the ground. Alright, so I'll get in for 2. Hopefully we miss our removal. Alright, not too bad. We got a bow. We got the Ebon Legion in there too. We'll soul salvage that back if we don't pull a mana next turn. It's like night and don't want to necessarily get the skeleton, but if that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. Let's see, we've moved 3 lands. 3, 6, 7. So there's 9 lands left. We've got 50% mana left in our deck. So pretty good shot. We're going to draw a mana. Which we did not. Very awkward. Very awkward mana. I think now we swing with both vultures and Cutthroat on the backswing. And hopefully they don't have a God's Willing. Okay, they're just saving up an activation. Pull another spider. These are going to be real sticky and tricky against us. Luckily, we still do have a reduced ashes. Would not hate him just putting that axe right back on the spider. If he's smart, he puts it on the tracker. There he goes. Alright, so we pull our mana. Yep, and I think we just reduce the spider. Get in for 2, hold down our ground crew, and now we've pulled ahead. We still have a flame sweep in our deck somewhere, as well as a murder. Another axe, okay. And we draw our axe. Let's see, if we swing that, it's not worth an alpha strike. We can put an axe out and on the vulture, which speeds up our clock. We can also soul salvage and grab. That seems pretty good. Alright, so let's axe. Axe. This forces them, if they want to kill the cutthroat, we can get some more recursive value off of it. And we still keep up a pretty good blocking scheme. Absolutely. So we get 2 of their creatures off the board. Now we have a better soul salvage target. They're still looking to pull up cards. With their Brightwood tracker, oop, they got a flyer. And with the axe, it will be big enough to kill ours. But they're getting low enough that a Scorcher Alpha Strike won't be bad. Alright. So opponents stabilized pretty well. Especially with our Disfigure gone. And now we're drawing lands. So what do? 3/3. We don't have enough to salvage and play the cutthroat again. So I think what we want to do is grab the knight. Oh, we had another Fathom Fleet anyway. Okay, that's good. And Fathom Fleet. And then throw down the knight. The bird grabber. Pass the turn. Okay. Looks like opponent wants to race out. It's really nice since it does have vigilance. Go to 8. Wow. Another sentinel. Okay. Flame sweep. Well, we wish this was a better flame sweep. What's it cost for this? This guy needs 3. So we can pump him and go flame sweep. And we lose the grabber. is annoying. So we'll swing in. See if we need to pump the Legion or not. I imagine we have to pump it at least once. Oh, perfect. Alright, so we're going to be able to double, which is very nice. Oh, no. Okay, well that's bad news for them. Oh, but can I split that? I don't know if I can split that up. I can't, can I? If I do it right now, I can do it. Alright, so let's do that. So we pump here. Flame Sweep. Which kills both flying blockers and put a counter on Ebon Legion. That's fine. We will trade this pattern matcher for the chaplain all day. Wow, no trick in the opponent's hand. We can make this 8 points of damage. 3. So if we play you, it's 3 attacking, 4, 5, 6, 7 attacking. You need a trick to take out the most important thing. So outside of a trick, the tracker, ooh, okay. He's just ignoring the Ebon Legion. Possibly he's saving a trick to swing back. Maybe we should have kept one of our tokens back as a blocker, because he has the opportunity to hit us for 6, and if you could pump that up to 8, then that's lethal. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Well, mana is not what we wanted. 4, 5, 6. Cost 4 to 7. Cost 4 to bring a skeleton all the way back. So if he doesn't block, great. If he does, we can cut throat, which we will. Absolutely. And opponent's starting to get pretty low. Ooh, they got a very fancy, fun creature, which isn't going to give them enough time to do much. Sure. Ambusher. Axon Ambusher. Axon Ambusher. So opponent, it's got an interesting green-white build, just some good cards. It's got some flyers to get in our way, which is pretty annoying. Alright. Well, I wouldn't say that was an amazing game by any means, but any metric. But we did end up squeaking out the victory. Little recursive value. Oh, and this is not best of 3, so I can stop looking at opponent's graveyards because it doesn't matter. I think opponent wasn't as familiar with the cards too, didn't seem to play them particularly optimally, but that's just something you're going to run into on ranked, especially at the lower levels. Now I'm doing it. So give our deck a look, see if we want to switch anything around. Now I feel that we have enough absolute murder potential with our cutthroats and actual murders and the flame sweeps that 1 reduced ashes is still correct. We might have brought him in if there had been more than 1 game, since we saw all the giant spiders, which of course have 5 health and block our flyers pretty handily. I think this is probably the correct build too, because we're mostly wanting to put pressure on the opponent as well as use our mana for removal and or equipment. So we run pretty well and lean, even though there is a build where we can include some blue. It seems like just a much more ineffective. The wins and the times that it works will be great, but if you're just trying to win, then you should just play your best deck. Alright, even though we'd prefer more mana, we're not going to turn down 2 of our 1-drops, especially one of our best. If we do pull that 3rd mana, then Knight of the Ebon Legion just becomes a must-answer threat. Alternatively, if we're stuck on 2, then we can axe up the Knight and see how that goes. Okay. We're going to put our contingency plan in place. And it's going to start looking real ugly real fast for opponent. Shock here looks amazing. Oh, okay. Oh. Opponent says I can aggro too. Alright, so looks like a pretty clean. Oops, I forgot. We still needed 1 more point of damage. Not so bad. I think I still prefer skeleton and equip over just 1 pump for the counter. Though we are still now a little more susceptible as far as shock or disfigure, or I guess it looks like it would be shock. It's like opponent's running elemental aggro? Question mark. I'm gonna go no blocks. Let's see what racing looks like. Alright, perfect. So now I think we hold up murder. Or actually I take that back. I think maybe we just pattern match our skeleton. Now Ebon Legion is self-pumping. So opponent can still swing back for 4, but they're losing this aggro race, to be honest. And they don't even know that we have a murder in hand. I think they're trying to figure it out too. Alright, so yeah, elemental, aggro-y, looks like picked up a few. Hopefully there's no Risen Reefs, etc. in their deck. Alright, see if we can 2-for-1 them. Little night swing. We'll even swing with the skeleton. I think we actually swing with everything. So right now, opponent doesn't have to block, but we can potentially take them to 1, which I think we will do if they do not block. But if they do block, then kind of have them covered both ways with both a murder, so we can blow out and do this instant speed and kill one of the creatures with murder and the other with combat damage. Or we can cutthroat if they're feeling tricky, which it seems like they are. Alright, no problem. So that works out great. We're going to be able to kill that brawler and affect the board both. And opponent's going to have to come up with something pretty quick. Night of the Ebon Legion is just a beating. And we still haven't even shown them the murder or soul salvage. Essentially, they just have a general idea that we muck around with black and have a couple skeletons. But Night of the Ebon Legion turn 1 is a very strong play. Especially limited. Opponent going in the tank. We have him pretty dead to rights as is. If we pull one more land, we can even switch the axe around to make very unfavorable either way. This looks like maybe the 4/4 elemental, or I'm not sure. Okay. To Paradise. Opponent's trying to do a complicated play. I'm not sure if they're just having trouble clicking correctly or getting the mana tapper to do what they like. Hopefully they know they can untap land by pressing Z. They're running out of time though. Oh no. Click OK, opponent. Do something with your mana. Oh no. Oh god, he's gonna run out of time and pass the turn. And maybe concede. Oh man. Oh. 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 Oh, that is rough. Alright. Well. Yeah. Opponent was pretty dead. So overall our plan's working great. I think maybe this deck is especially well suited to be playing in best of one. We kind of overcome quickly. We have a lot of things that can be avoided or sided against if we were playing a second or third game. Just pretty much quick beatdown with a lot of removal. Makes a really nice and happy best of one deck. Very expensive hand, but we have both types of mana, 3 lands. I mean, the other half of our deck are cheap cards. So not where you want to be for our starting hand, but I don't think anyone sends that one back. So at least we have a creature now for a turn 3 play. And 1 mana makes us very happy. So even a little nice synergy between Destructive Digger and Pattern Matcher, since Pattern Matcher is an artifact. If push comes to shove, we can draw a card, get rid of our Pattern Matcher, and then redraw. Perfect. 4th land right on time. Looks like opponent is not as fortunate. I don't see a lot of value in the Matcher over the Cutthroat. They're both 3/3s at the end of the day. And since we have plenty of things to do with our mana and nothing really to match except for the other Cutthroat. We can do a shuffle though, I guess. So we can search and fail to find. And shuffle our deck. I don't know if we really wanted to or not. It's just something we could do. Alright, I don't know if opponent's playing mono green, but definitely look a little like it. I think be very aggressive to swing, though I do not hate it since we want to play this vulture and start swinging in the air. So let's go ahead and swing out. See See if opponent bites. Because if they want to take 6 damage, that's fine too. Alright. Feels good. Flyer down. God, we're good at milling flame sweeps. But we also got some mana out of the way. And to be honest, we don't need too much mana. One more to get the reduced ashes down and whatever the other one is. Ooh, alright. Loving Shaman. Not sure if that's a good card. Looks like maybe they just wanted to get some good cards back in the deck. We drew our literal only other high-priced card, but that's fine. I think we don't mind. Yeah, we're gonna swing in, continue being aggressive, use our Soul Salvage, and get back a Pattern Matcher and the Digger. It's not exactly what we want to do for a Great Soul Salvage, but it just refills our cards. Any mana we draw, we're fine. We have plenty of action. Any action we pull, we can play. And opponent is just stuck on this one color. Really need some blue mana. Let's just be as efficient as possible and get our knight down. This might cause someone to scoop. Nope. It's a little harder to scoop in best of one, even though you're mana screwed, because you just don't have a chance of redemption anyway, so you might as well take your one shot, but this is a pretty bad position for opponent. Ooh. Give him a nice. It is a nice card. Fortunately, it is creature-based, and opponent does not have any creatures. At best, he's hoping that we attack it, which, let's see, is this damage? Okay, so they have to lose 4 life. All right, so we can still swing. Do we even care? I don't think we even care, really. Yeah, we're gonna pattern match the vulture. Yes. Grab this vulture. Swing with everything. Grow the Ebon Legion. And it's going to be real hard for opponent to come back, even with an excellent Planeswalker on the board. Just got color screwed. Alright, opponent can fight the vulture. Oh, very nice. Alright, they can fight whatever creature they'd like. Unfortunately, though, they're still dead. Nice. Yeah, we had multiple ways to continue to win that game, so not that big a deal. Definitely why we want to grow our board a little more, instead of just pumping up on, just say, the Ebon Knight. Well, we're rolling pretty well here. Just keep them coming. Just some of the draws that our deck's going to give us. This one's also particularly awkward. We technically have a 2-drop, though maybe we'll even just want a flame sweep. Opponent's going to go first, so possibly we can sandbag and clear out 2 or 3 creatures, which means we probably want to go the Heart Piercer bow first. But again, 3 land, both colors. Just not going to throw that back. Looks like opponent had to mulligan twice. Ouch. Mulliganing, even though the London Mulligan is great, has really improved the quality of being able to draw without having to completely murder your hand. Going down 2 cards at the beginning of a match is pretty brutal. Alright, the fact that, oh wow, that Flame Sweep doesn't kill the piranhas makes me want to put down the mask. Especially since we can bow attack next turn. That feels pretty good. Yeah. So even though we're sort of setting ourselves back if we do end up wanting to flame sweep. Oh, because we can sacrifice it, right? To do damage just to them though, right? Oh no, any target. Alright. It's very interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of tricky ways to use this card. Oh, alright. Opponent found their mana. So if we attack... Alright, it's still not enough because the elemental's too small. Uncaged Fury gets us there, but is that worth it? It's probably better than wasting a murder, to be honest. And Heartpiercer Bow is just not cool enough. Alright. So we'll see. They might not even... nice, they might not even block, which is also perfectly fine with us. Do we want to hold up the murder? I don't think so. Let's go ahead and go bow. Anything they put down that we really dislike, we can still just murder on our turn. I also need to remember too, we can always sacrifice this to do a damage instead of losing it. Okay, that's fine. Alright, skeleton. Don't hate me a skeleton. So now we can still do our same play. This is interesting. They're just big enough to not get both flame swept. Even if we move around bow damage. But we can still Uncaged Fury and skeleton. That seems good. So let's go ahead and do that. If they just take one more damage, then that's fine too. Sure. Alright, this time they go for it. Yeah, I think we still do it. So it gets rid of their larger blocker. We get down a skeleton. And then we can still load up skeleton as well as just murder things as they come down. Alright, much little tiny guys. It's got to really pump up the brawler. Of course, if we had known that, we would have taken the brawler out, not gotten as tricky with our battle trick. We were probably overthinking it a bit. This is going to get pretty large, but holds back everything else, so we don't mind too bad. Alright, we're getting a little flooded. 3, 4, 5. Man, we can't flame sweep and murder. So we'll probably just murder. In fact, we'll probably just do it now. There are some limited counter spells. And I can't imagine too much more that we'd want to do. We're going to take 3, but we still have the sweep to clean up. Let's just go ahead and do this now. I don't see any reason to wait. And then hopefully they play a low power creature. And we can get a nice flame sweep, clean up. Yep, perfect. It's even more insult to injury. So we go ahead and flame sweep. We could do it on their turn. It seems a little greedy. It's possible we catch another miscreant, but then it's just going to draw a card. 6. Can bring back the skeleton, hold up the disfigure. That seems right. Just go ahead and do this now. Uh-oh. Alright, so we got him. And now we'll just wait, pick the skeleton back up, start trying to grind some value. Spitfire, you say? Alright, that'll be fun with the disfigure. So, what's this cost? 2, cost 1. Okay, so I think what we do, does this cost red mana? Okay. Go ahead and play out our vulture. Flea mill, just all the stuff. Oh my god, well, we got some life out of it that we totally threw away both Fathom fleets. Then we do you. And I think we do you. I think that's how we do this. Not totally sure. Again, I haven't really used the Heart Piercer bow just yet. Don't know what the optimal setup would be. I just know we have Disfigure in case of emergency anyway. And we have opponent pretty well in a corner. Alright. So I think we just attack in. Disfigure on the way in. Put it on the skeleton just in case we need it. This will be interesting. Not sure if this is optimal, but we're trying a thing. Opponent definitely has something. They had 5 mana and held 2 cards, and there were 2 cards down to start, so unless they're holding those 2 7 mana cards, this seems okay. Okay. Might be able to hold on to our Harpers, so then we should be able to sack him, kill the Spitfire for quote-unquote free, or at least recursive value. Alright, that worked. Throw down our other skeleton, and we'll pick up the other skeleton if we don't need to do anything else with it. The mana, that is, disfigure-wise. Alright, another Miscreant, dies to Heart Piercer. And we don't have a lot of power on the board, but we have a nice little synergistic combo going here. Alright, Scorcher, perfect. Excellent card off the top for us. Alright, looks like he does have a Convolute. No problem, say yes. Hold on. Did we tap? Correct mana. Oh, it's 2 mana. Whoops. Alright, that's fine. I guess that works. We only had 1 black left anyway, so in a way we mistapped already. Alright, the opponent's probably getting a little worried with our dink damage. Alright, so we can disfigure and pick that off with the bow. Kind of liking our little thing we got here. Do we still have another vulture? I think we do. So let's go ahead and attack first. I think we disfigure here. Seems appropriate. Uh-oh, we gave him an option to block. That was on us. We should have disfigured first. That's fine. Disfigure. Miss out on a point of damage because we're bad. Pattern match Vulture, and I don't see us getting beat to Horde. It's possible that the opponent could have a Flame Sweep to fuck with us, but it doesn't seem very probable. We do have this Mask. Mask can do a lot of stuff. 1/2 means potential 4 damage if we, sacrificed and moved over and over. Opponent sees we're adding on the wall. Got a nice recursive factory set up here. It's been a little tricky negotiating how best to use. I mean, it's the first time we got to see the Mask, I guess, in action. But Heart Piercer Bow and the Mask seemed like a bit of a combo, especially since we have 2 Cutthroats. This ended up being a pretty serviceable deck. Again, I think it's better in best of 1. We get a lot of element of surprise, people who aren't used to certain combos like the bow and the Mask with a Cutthroat. Maybe you just aren't even looking for Cutthroats. Got a lot of things to pick for Pattern Matcher, which is very nice in a 1 and a 3-drop slot. Yeah, overall pretty good. A pity. Scholar can be super powerful, and it would even work if we really forced it, but just not nearly as well as how we're doing with our 16 land aggro deck. Alright, it's the first time we don't have both colored mana, but it's alright. One in a row. Throw down Knights of Ebon Legion and watch the opponent cry. You know, we have 2 of our 3-drop creatures. Of course, we'll take a mountain. But as it stands, we're not doing too shabby. Okay. Well, get in for 1. It's fine. A little wary throwing down those vultures so early. Just milling with only 1 soul salvage and no other way of recurring. You know, gravediggers, etc. It just feels real sketch. This feels tricky. Feels like opponents trying to get us to commit mana to the Knight of the Ebon Legion so they can summon it. We are not going to play those reindeer games. We'll swing in, see what happens. Cutthroat. Alright. Now the question is, do we want to start growing our Ebon Legion? I think we do. Even though we have a creature to put down, that board's not that scary. I'd rather just get the extra damage in, start growing the Legion. It makes it worth it, because now even if it has an unsummon or a way to bounce or deal with Knight, we got in 4 damage for our 3 mana, and then kept around an extra counter if the Knight, you know, proves to be able to attack several times. It's just a really good card. Very efficient, powerful, flexible. We are hoping for, I believe, a red mana. Right now would service us really well. Alright, there we go. Deals with the Knight of the Ebon Legion. Takes our whole turn, though. Still okay with that trade. Alright. Not quite what we want. We're not going to get much value out of this Cutthroat. It will ostensibly hold back some blockers unless they invest mana into the key. That said, though, I think we're just going to play this Vulture out. We don't mind racing a little bit. What do we hit? There goes the, oh god, except for we threw the soul salvage in the garbage. Well, now it's make or break. No mountains though still, which is interesting. I can speak clearly. Yellow leather, red leather. Human Torch was denied a bank loan. This is a pretty iffy situation to be in, to be completely honest. Retributive Wand isn't that scary, but overall, not that scary of a card. Opponent doesn't attack, which is interesting. We draw a mountain, which is great. I think I might just want to clear the board right now. So we'll have 5. That doesn't leave much else. We could also just play a Vulture and the Mask. That feels probably better. I guess the Mask will die, but we can just sack it too, and it'll be out. We can Flame Sweep on their turn. Or rather... No. Alright, so first let's attack. Okay. Get in for our 2. Throw down a Mask. Yeah, I like this play better. This line gives us more board presence and still doesn't punish us when we want to Flame Sweep. And we can sack that Mask at any time and pick off whatever we want. I mean, oh god, a Disfigure and the Axe. We are not hitting with our Vultures at all, or rather we're hitting the wrong things. So we get rid of the token now. We can kill the Soulmender. We can also just kill that Cutthroat, not have to deal with 2. I think we're just going to pass the turn, see what happens. If he wants to use the wand, then great. I mean, at worst we give him 1 more life, or you know, a way to attack through with the Cutthroat. But I don't mind any of it. If we can just sack, put that on its face for 1 damage and maximize our Flame Sweep potential, then we'll be pretty happy. Okay. So this is interesting. Here's a combo right here. We're going to be able to sack the token to ping the elemental and then hit it with the cutthroat without having to pay any more extra mana. Just because it's an ability effect that's targeting, it's not a spell. So opponent being very angry incoming. 3, 2, 1. It's just too bad we can't double spell. I think this is still right too. We could also just reduce to ashes. Actually, no, we can't, because that's the whole point, is getting around the elemental tax. So go ahead and pop Boreal Elemental. Get our cutthroat down. I guess it doesn't matter what mana we leave up. Kill him. And swinging for 4, and we're in pretty good position now. We have reduced ashes back up. We still have this flame sweep, which can clear their entire side. Yeah, it's not looking great for opponent. We just awkwardly cannot find any sort of mana. Actually, here first, I want to equip the cutthroat in case they have any shenanigans. And then I'm just going to flame sweep so we can get a clear attack with the 3 points of damage versus just allowing them to try to do something clever. Ooh, except for we forgot about the wand. Oh, alright, so he's got a convolute anyway, which kind of saves us in a weird way. He would probably trade off. Alright, does it matter? Do we want him to trade off? If he doesn't trade off, he's taking a lot of damage. We take maximum 4 on the backswing. Guess we have no reason. Yeah, we don't really have a reason to hold him back. If he wants to trade, then we're happy with that. That's the best that we're going to hope for the cutthroat anyway. So we take out the biggest creature he has left. Soul Salvage is still in there. Still have another cutthroat somewhere though. Pattern Matcher. Actually, we have both our vultures. Got a handful of action. We're good. Alright, opponent refills. Yeah, they're still in it. They still have options. You're getting enough mana. Alright, Aerial Assault. Again, we have no way to recur at the moment, and he's slowing down our damage production, pretty considerably. Right, other Flame Sweep. So Grabber just dies immediately. Kind of want this skeleton back, don't we? 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. Guess we can force him to spend the mana and tap to get the Grabber. But then we don't get to leave up anything. We get to pull the skeleton back out. What if we want a Flame Sweep? Alright, I think that's okay, to be honest. If it takes him an activation, we are slowly pulling ahead. And this is kind of the jank combo I said I'd seen before, and it is just a jank. I don't even know if we call it a combo. It just takes way too much mana for it to be efficient whatsoever. It's fine. Like, we will produce enough damage at some point. Not gonna lie, they've gained 5, 6 life off the Soulmender. Possibly we should have just... Oh man, we should have put the Mask Immolation on the Grabber. Or not, looks like he's got a whole nother plan. Oh, he's gonna double up on it? That's fine. Yeah, we don't mind that at all. It is annoying that we're shorting ourselves value. I mean, we get the skeleton back now, I guess. Alright, a little extra red mana doesn't hurt. So, I think we put the mask on the Grabber. Hold up Flame Sweep. Which isn't great. Guess we could just pump him now. No. So we pop him now. Kills the grabber, and we're just left with a goddamn skeleton. I guess the abomination can come down. It's a fairly large life swing, actually. We're going to do it this way. Nice. Alright, so he gets the life. So we can let him get an extra life if we want. Kind of forces him to shoot at the wand. And the math just doesn't work out very well for it, so we're just going to shoot him. Get rid of him now. He's gained too much life. He's kept him in the game at this point, which is kind of funny. I think we'll keep the flame sweep around. Oh, actually, almost did it again. We're going to get max value. So we're going to force him to spend mana and then shoot him in the face anyway with the grabber. Which is arguably what we should have done before. It's a nice 4-4. Fortunately for our opponent, we have an answer already in hand. Go ahead. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do much, but we have an immediate answer. Get in 2 more points of damage. It's just that much closer. I'm sure we could have played this match a lot tighter. I'm still working out the different interactions and sequencing. That was particularly unfortunate because now, you know, they have to take the extra damage. They don't have an extra activation, all that good stuff. But that also just speaks to how bad this quote-unquote combo is. It just takes way too much mana. So they go for the ping, maybe. Yeah, we start to figure out we got a little insurance. And we only missed that once, and you know, we did get the skeleton back, so yeah, questionably could have gone either way. Alright, they go for the ping. We go for their face. And now we have the slowest combo known to man. Oh my god. Alright. Still not enough to bring out the skeleton. Play some mind games. See if that... Actually, no reason to play mind games. We're just going to put it right on there. Which completely negates why we would have done that. Man, opponent is annoying. So now, I guess opponent can instant speed kill the skeleton before we can equip it. Which isn't nothing. Alternatively, we could just flame sweep. Seems weak to get rid of just that guy, but we're gonna do it. Yeah. He wants to show the combo off one last time. Sure thing. All you. And we swing in. All right, see if we can finish off these last 2 wins. Go 7-0. Very serviceable. Sets us up pretty well. Curve out pretty nicely. All Alright, I like that. Especially since it does have protection from Flame Sweep, it does not have protection from Heart Piercer Bow. It's going to make our mana a little awkward. We hope to draw another small guy so that we can equip the skeleton more easily. Even if he puts out a blocker that kills the skeleton, we probably still just attack to get rid of the Drake. Oh yes, this is very nice. This is the kind of race we definitely want to get involved in. Question is, if we want to put down the Drake first. Actually, I think what we want to do, let's go ahead and just attack without the bow on. Do our 1 damage. And get our vulture down while the getting's good. Oh god, that was pretty bad. Soul Salvage down, Marauder's Axe down, and our other Flame Sweep. So that was a pretty bad mill. That's why it always gives me the chills to play cards like this. Alright. Brawler. We actually don't mind too much. We can actually dink the Brawler, and then if he blocks, Flame Sweep away everything. If he does not block, then we're just going to get in 2-3 damage. The backswing starts to hurt a little. But we can put down the grabber. I think we just Heart Piercer Bow this time. Go ahead and take out the Drake. Get in our damage anyway. And then put down the grabber. If we need to, we can block the skeleton. Possibly we just want to take 4. I don't think we want to move the bow. And now we're going to be set up for a pretty good roll. And the race is definitely on. Okay, throw the skeleton in front. Don't want to take 5. And this figure is nice. Alright, so I'm going to give you flying. Going to attack everything. Doesn't really matter. Go ahead and kill you. And then yeah, this is a lot of resources, but I don't mind. It's going to clear the board up. They don't have too many cards left in hand. I feel like they put down their big ones, and the Brawler is a lot less scary with all of those elementals off the board. We've used most of our removal. We still have a Murder and a Reduced Ashes, but not too bad. Still a close game, but not too bad. All right, perfect. Another bow. That's exactly what we'd like. 3, 4 chump. We still have 2. We still kill that. Yeah. We're gonna attack with everything. Get rid of the spitter. We'll trade there or not if you'd like. Which does not. Hold on. Make sure the auto tapper doesn't get us. And then next turn we're set up to do some real damage to him. So this really shows the power of the Heartpiercer bow. Just because now we're going to have 2 on, we're going to be able to just start picking off any 2 toughness creatures whatsoever. Pattern matcher is nice. So we know for a fact we're going to want to do this. Oh man, do we want to split it up? I think we want to split it up actually. Let's split it up just in case they have instant removal spell. Oops, we overspent mana. Now that really makes me want to use it to get the Sanitarium Skeleton back out. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. It was not a great sequencing there, but you know, Magic's hard. And we have our blocker again. So we have lethal on board. So if opponent attacks 3, 4 to 8, we actually probably still block because that 1 double strike instant. But we're not too upset. Still in a great position. I gotta say, it still feels clunky playing stack, not used to the interactions yet. Alright, there's a thing. That's not gonna do as much as they wanted to. I guess they get to kill the bird grabber. Oh, okay. But now they actually can't kill it. Oh, they get to kill the Ooh, very nice opponent. Fortunately, we still get to kill them. Give them the GGs. Sack the token, get that last bit of damage in. Call it a day. That was by the tidy whities. Opponent very close to lethal. Close as you can get. Alright, see if we can go for that perfect run. Imperfect play makes perfect runs. That's what no one ever said ever. It's pretty ugly. Still gonna keep it. We have a turn 2 play, we have a turn 3 sweeper. Just have to hope we pull a black mana and or some action. And easy peasy. Magic is an easy game. I think we get the axe down. Skeletons are great, but with our flame sweep, our vulture will already dodge that. We might just want to kind of hold back. Alright, little bird grabber. Alright, see if we can get any other lands off the top. Or both of our bows. Okay. Well, no bows this game. I'm gonna play our last game bowless. It's possible we've 2 for 1 if they play something cool. That's really not that cool. Yeah, I mean, that's a build around card for sure, but it's definitely not very exciting. Plus we can double spell. Plays into our own flame, but I think this digger could probably dig through some lands too, and that would be alright. So, as it sits, we have two favorable blocks, but opponent could easily have a trick. Red-green is famous for them. Alright, no trick, just a brawler, which isn't great, but 'tis what it is. Ooh, and we immediately snap back with an answer if we'd like, so let's think here. Equip the axe, and flame sweep gets rid of two of our creatures, two of their creatures. Doesn't seem great. Equip the axe on the digger to take out the brawler and hold everything back. Seems pretty good. We could hold up a flame sweep, or reduce dash the brawler and go. It's a tough one. I think double moving the axe is probably actually worth it. Getting a lot of value. And we don't mind trading the digger with the brawler that we need to remove anyway, because it still leaves our flame sweep really advantageous. So hopefully this doesn't burn us. But I do like that. We don't mind trading digger for brawler. Digger's not great in our deck just because it doesn't line up well with flame sweep. If necessary, we can use the skeleton as a failsafe for a blowout. Okay, actually we don't mind that. It left our... So that's 3. Oh yeah, if you text with the grabber, all the better. Alright, so now let's go ahead and chump off the 4 damage. And then reduce. Oh man, we're just 1 off. Well, we can flame sweep and take 3. Guess that's actually just what we're doing. It's very aggressive, but that's sort of the name of the game for us. We'd almost love to see the Hasty Elemental come out pre-combat, because it would use all their mana and we would just get a nice blowout. Ooh, another brawler. Not really what we want. They're going to hit us for 4 now. Alright, so we're going to eat that. Hopefully he doesn't have a grow in response. Uh-oh. Oh no. This could be very bad. Oh god, grow cycle. Alright, we might be taking the L on this one. That one was brutal. No, not much else we can do. Hopefully they don't have a removal spell, or we may just be dead. If not, there's a chance we can stabilize. Okay, it's not great. It's gonna pump. Actually, that's... we have to block there now, or it's lethal. It's fine. Growth cycle. Oh my god. Well, that's pretty textbook. Red-green ramp. Probably shouldn't have played it so cute and taken out that brawler earlier. We gave up a lot of life doing that. Unfortunate, but let's see if we can still finish this off with minimal losses. Well, it's been our song. 3 mana both colors must play, but this is a particularly unexciting hand. We get our X down on 2. Hopefully don't mill all of our awesome cards with our Vulture on 3. Curve into Cutthroat on 4 if necessary. I mean, there's worse things in life. Oh man, hope we're not playing the same guy. Was not paying attention. Alright, not too bad. Got 2 lands out of the way. 1 creature we wouldn't mind having but kill us and a reduced to ashes. And then we have 2 flame sweeps, so not too shabby. I think we're gonna digger here. Just get our board presence established. And now we can probably start swinging our axe around a bit. Double flame sweep does offer us a nice cushion. Yeah. So we're just gonna axe up, throw down the bow, swing with our vulture, start giving the beats. And bow out with flame sweep up is going to be nice too. It's going to make our vulture pretty damn godly. Alright, case in point, we're going to get a nice little blowout here. Okay. Alright. Just gonna let that happen. We can still do the same play next turn, and instead we're gonna be able to get another evasive creature that won't get hit by flame sweep out. Mask and Disfigure down, but we do manage to mill a Skelly. Hopefully they just play some smaller creatures. If not, we might end up using Cutthroat. Okay. Alright, don't hate it. Ooh, especially love no attack. Alright, so with 5 mana, still can't do much. But we can Flame Sweep 1 away, or actually, I mean, what am I talking about? We're just going to Cutthroat 1 away. So hit him, Cutthroat. Opponent really should have attacked, but they're feeling the pressure. Cutthroat takes care of one of them, and that's probably game. I mean, opponent probably has some really powerful cards. We just didn't give him enough time to bring him to bear. Alright, best flying deck, possibly black, not blue or white. Just kidding. The right deck, blue-white is. But let's claim our spoils. Nice little cosmetic, couple packs, came out 950 gems up out of 5,000 golds, always nice. And see if we get any other awesome cards. So essentially 5 free packs, got paid, excuse me. 5 free packs and 950 gems, or even positive if we'd entered with gems by 200. And ooh, Shifting Ceratops, very tasty, especially on our free-to-play account. Alright, well, that's going to wrap up our draft video. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and leave a comment below, and see you in the next one.